Hey there, guys! What is going on? Slappy here, back doing another Creativerse tutorial. Not something I thought I would do anytime in the near future, but something that's come into this game that is so cool. I think it came in with the 64-bit update. I'm not entirely sure how long this has been in the game. I recently found out about it, did some research, and I'm super into it. Using arc signs, you can now put images of mobs and items right into the game. I don't know how clear that is, but it is so cool. They're called sprites. They kind of look like emotes or little pictures. All of the items, all of the mobs, you can now have a little picture of them in your game. And we're going to talk about how to do this. It requires a little bit of coding on your part, but it's pretty basic. You can copy and paste a lot of it. So let's just jump right into learning how to make a sprite, because that's what they're called for some reason. Not entirely sure why, but that's all right. Let's look at the code. So if you guys have never done any of the coding in this game before, you can actually make signs, you can make letters, you can make them huge, you can make them colorful, and that's kind of cool. So let's talk about sprites and how to do them. So the first thing to note is all of the commands in this game, all of the coding has to be done inside of the greater than and less than brackets. I don't know if there's a better name for them than those, but they're on your comma and period key on your keyboard, if you're using a traditional keyboard, I suppose. But they all have to be done inside of those brackets. So let's talk about this. This is the command to get you what you want. So first off, sprite equals. It tells the computer that you want to use a sprite. It all starts with sprite equals if you want a sprite. Sprite equals, and then in quotations you have icons underscore 01 or 00. So there's actually two categories, 00 and 01. So if we look at those a little bit briefly, icon 00 is all of the items in the game. Icon 01 is all of the mobs in the game. So that's how you choose between whether you want an item to display or a mob to display, 00 or 01. So we'll show that in just a second. The second part of the command after a space, so you close your quotations, there's a space, and then index equals. So the index number tells the computer which mob, or tells the sign, I suppose, tells the sign which mob or item you actually want. So right now, we have a ghost pigsy, ghost leafy. So I can change the index number here to get a different mob. So now you can see we have a trog. The index number is which mob or item is actually there. So I think it's a ghost chizard doing a little dance. Very small. We'll change the size of these in just a second. But now let's say you want items. Maybe you're building a really cool storage room. You can see there now we have, is that a delay gate? Wrong button, sorry. Let's change this again. Let's go 17. Now we have a loot spawner. Let's go really high number, index 555. Now we have a peak stone slab. So you can see you can get any item in the game by changing the index number. Just one last time, because I know this might be confusing. Icon 00 is items, icon 01 is mobs. So that is the second part of the command after sprite equals. So 01, mobs, 00 is items. Easy peasy, right? I don't know if somebody's actually made a website compiling which index number it is for which item, but perhaps we will get that very soon. If anyone knows of one, please leave it in the comments down below. I'll try to remember to make it available to everyone. I'll try and put in the description if someone does find one. I haven't been able to find one, but pretty soon I'm sure there'll be an index as to which item is which number. Because right now, if you're trying to find something specific, I can see it being very frustrating to have to go through all of these. There are so many items in this game, but we now have a picture for all of them. So this is really cool. I imagine storage rooms are going to be pretty sweet. Anyway, let's talk about how to manipulate the picture itself. So the first thing is size. So you can see right before our sprite code, we have size equals, and that number basically will just change the size of whatever it is that you're displaying. It's the same thing you can do to change text size and signs if you guys didn't know. But yeah, so you can change it to whatever size you want, which is lovely. You know, you can have it really big, really small, whatever you want. Let's go for a nice soft size, maybe a 5. Oops. There we go. So that's how you change the size, because obviously the default size might be a touch small for anyone that's not, I don't know, eagle-eyed. So the next thing I want to show you guys is we've got the size, we can display a little picture, but it still seems almost a little inconvenient, right? Because it's right off the ground. Arc signs, you might want to hide them. They're not the prettiest of blocks. So that's relatively easy to do with this offset command. So right before size, right before sprite, I have offset equals. Right now it's at 7. Boom. We can offset it off of the ground. Then you can hide all of your arc signs. You can change, keep trying to press equals. Then you can change where you want your thing to display. You can fine tune it very exactly. Perfect, right? Very cool. This is already cool enough, but if you want to get even crazier, you can actually change the color of these things. Because why not? Because why not, right? Let's get into that a little bit. This is probably the most confusing. So it's probably easiest if you have a specific color in mind, search color picker on Google. They actually have their own. So the color palette in Creativerse, they use the hex color palette. So inside of the sprite thing itself, right after index, you put a space. Before you close the bracket, you put a space right after index. Color equals the number sign. I want to say it's called an ampersand, but I think that's the and sign. Anyway, the number sign, and then there's basically a number that you could put. If you go to Google and search color picker, it's the hex color picker, and you can change the color. So I'm looking at it right now. I can change it. I just wanted to get maybe a nice green. So let's go 42F486. Now it's green. So that's probably the easiest way to do the colors, just because unless you really want to experiment with them or whatnot. Yeah, that's the colors. Oh, that's all the sprite stuff, which is pretty cool. There's also a few other things you can do with the commands. You can move them left and right, various things. I kind of wanted to just do the basics with you guys. I know this is a lot of information already to take in, but I hope this is helpful. I think there's going to be some really amazing stuff you can do with this. Obviously, storage rooms, you know, you have some very cool signage you can do now. I think adventures, you might be able to do some pretty cool stuff. Because the other thing that's really neat about arc signs is they're completely toggleable, right? So you could have a completely unlabeled storage room. You hit a switch, all of a sudden, everything lights up. You can find stuff so easily. And now that it's running in 64-bit, this should actually run fairly smooth. So not only do you get to change the color, the size, where they are, you can also toggle them. So this is going to be really neat. You could probably do some crazy jump scares if you wanted to scare your friends. You know, put a 30-story tall Miru or a thing in their base. It could be very interesting. I just did this little display over here to show you guys some of the interesting stuff, show off some of the blocks. The bed looks really cool, big. You know, we've got a... What are those called? I'm completely missing. Keepa, way up in the sky, a bone, all the blocks in the game, all the mobs in the game. Simply incredible. What an interesting and cool thing to add to the game. So start loading up on Arc Stones. I imagine you guys are going to want to use these a lot. I don't know all the index numbers before you ask. I mentioned it before. Let's try the devil's number here. Look at that. There's more than 600 blocks in this game. Just go crazy. How high can we get before it stops showing things? More than 700 items in this game. That's just amazing. Just amazing how many items are in this game. I'm sure there will be an index page at some point. But yeah. Leave a like on this video if you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are going to use these for, if you're excited about them. I'm so curious to see what these get used for. I think it's going to be super interesting. You can see they're a pretty decent range, but at some range arc signs stop working, which... Uh-oh, are we going to walk off the mountain before they stop working? Apparently. Okay. These may stay on a little... This is a lot farther than an arc sign usually works, so perhaps they adjusted that, or perhaps these just stay up as far as you want. Interesting, but yeah, very cool. Sprites, very cool. Icon 00, items. Icon 01, mobs. Index chooses which mob or item. I'm going to end it looking at this so you guys can get a close-up of how to write it if you are curious. I think this covers anything. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below, as well as any builds that you have planned now that you know about these, or if you already knew about them. Let me know that as well. Subscribe to more Creativerse, all that jazz. I will catch you guys in the next one. A ciao!